Hello, everyone, and happy Saturday. Today is Saturday, so here we are again. And you know what I'm going to start this live with is bringing ourselves here and now, because I don't know about you, but sometimes we're not here and now. We're all over the place, right? We tend to be all over the place. So, how are you doing today? Where are you today? What are you thinking about? What have you been thinking about all day yesterday, today, all day, this morning? What have you been thinking about? Maybe sometimes what we all do is we think about our past, right? Most of us think about our past. If you have been doing that, tell me we're doing that, because it's important for us to acknowledge and be aware and be notice what we're thinking about, right? So maybe you've been thinking about the past. Now, tell me honestly, when we're thinking about the past, we're probably not thinking about the good things, right? Sometimes we do, but most of the time, what are we thinking about? We're thinking about all the things that happened to us, things that we should have done differently, things that we should have said something different. So we're both basically beating ourselves up, right? That we should have done something else instead of what has happened. So the past keeps you what? Really occupied. So I want you to spend a few minutes to think about this. How was your morning? How many times have you visited your past and thought about your past? Because unless we notice it and we bring awareness to ourselves, it's hard to even know that we're doing that, because it's so easy for us to get lost in our past. So if we're thinking about our past and you need to do something here and now, and you need to be available for yourself, available for your children, available for your partner, if you have to be available, you have to be here and now. But if you're in the past, you can't be here, because you can't be in two places. Your mind is not going to be in two different places. So you have to be one place. Now you're caught up in your past stories. So how are we going to bring ourselves here and now? Only way to do that is to really take the lessons from the past and really let it go. Because what are we going to do with it? Why are we visiting it so many times? It's already done. We can reverse it. It's done. So we just have to let it go. And that means this hand is now free. I can bring it now and here. But what else happens for most of us, and maybe it happens to you as well, but I have to admit it happens to me, and it happens to many of the people that I work with as well. We go into the future. Now future is beautiful, right? Because it hasn't happened yet, so we should think about our future, because we have to set intentions. A lot of people set goals. I don't set goals, I just set intentions. And then we want to think about it, and we want to imagine it, and we wanted to have, look forward to something. So that's good. The future is good. Thinking about the future is really good. But I want you to think about this as well. When you're thinking about your future, do you think about it in just leaving it to be created, or are you recreating with projecting your past? So, this is an important question. If you're doing the projection of the past onto your future and looking through that lens and creating a future and wishing for a future, it means that it's now clouded by what happened in the past. That's when we produce those what ifs, all the scary things we put on our future, and then we look at it and we try to create that. It's not going to be a future we want, right? That's not a future we dream of. So should we be wasting our time thinking about it like that, or should we just release it, bless it, release it, and whatever the future is going to come, it's going to come to you and me. It's there for all of us, right? So why don't I just release it and bless it, and it's no longer I need to be here and stuck in producing it. Now what happens when I do that is I can bring my both of my hands here. You see, my both hands are free. Now I can be here. And when I'm here, I can start learning, because even if we're adults, we're always learning, right? And I can live. I can truly live instead of being so like split into different parts. I can now be whole and be here, and then live. And then I can lead myself and lead others, because we're all leaders. Leaders are not just politicians. Leaders are ourselves. I am a leader of my life. You're a leader of your life. You lead others in your life, right? You lead your future. So we need to be here and now in order to lead, in order to live, in order to learn, because we're always learning. There's never a day that we don't learn, right? There's always something we can learn. The day that we never stop learning would be the day that we never breathe again, right? But we're always learning. So are you here and now? It's really important that you're here and now, because a lot of us are so busy. We're in the past or in the future. And that's why we feel like we're not connected, we're not rooted anymore. We feel like we're uprooted, and there's just so many things going on. It makes it even impossible for us to be here and now. But it is possible, because you know why? Because it's all in your hands. It's not somebody else's controlling it. We are in control of it. So how else do we bring ourselves? One way is to like really talk about this, consciously bring ourselves here and now, what I just showed you. But other way is to breathe. Breathing is also something that makes you become in the present, because in order to really breathe, I know you're breathing right now, but that's not the breathing I'm talking about. Breathing where you're consciously really breathing in and taking the time to breathe. If you do that, then you're here as well, here and now as well. So let's do 3 of those breaths like we always do, so we can bring ourselves here and now. So inhale for 4, hold for 4, and then let's exhale for 8 through your mouth, letting go all the pressures, all the past that you've been thinking about, all the worries that you have, all the things that you're thinking about the world, because it is chaos out there, right? Everything, just let it go. Now let's do that again. Inhale for 4 through your nose, and then hold. And when you're holding it, send it to the parts that you have forgotten about, your lower back, all the way to your tailbone. Send that air all the way down. Feel it all over your body, so that it can reach in places that you forgot about. And then when you're letting go into all the places that you store stress, anxiety, pressure, expectations. And they tend to be around your neck, and it's tend to be around in your shoulders. If you're lower back, if you have pain, that means that you're storing it. So let it go out. Now let's inhale for another 4, hold for 4, and then let it go for 8. And this time let it go and make a sound. Let everything go, because if you hold on to it, you're not here and now. This is also why we have hard time being here and now. So thank you for joining me. And what I want to share is what happened yesterday, because this is kind of continuation from what happened yesterday, because there was a lot of conversations we had yesterday about this. So let's keep going with this. So yesterday I shared with you the sacred circle of self, right? So we had a real meaningful conversation about this yesterday. And we talked about how each of us have a center. That's our core, right? It's our core, a place inside that is supposed to be calm and grounded and clear, if we don't allow anybody in the core of your center. Now, that place where you see the center of the circle, where there's a bird, that is your home. That is coming home to yourself. That is the core of yourself. Now, a lot of the time, what we do is we overcrowd with things or other people inside of that core. It's supposed to be sacred. It's your place. It's only for you, nobody else. Even if you love other people, it's not for your children. It's not for your lover. It's not for anyone else except for yourself. So my question yesterday was, who else is inside of that, where the bird is, that inner core? Who else is in there? If there's somebody's in there, no wonder why you feel like you're no longer home, because you have too many people, too many things that you allow to be inside of a place where it's supposed to be sacred for you. And if you believe in God or universe, it's also for that God can be inside of that, but no one else, not even your kids, not even your partner. They cannot be there. Where would they be then? You might ask, where would they be? They have to be in the second or the third levels of the sacred circle. You can't put them in where you're supposed to be by yourself. Why do we need to be by ourselves? It seems so selfish, right? Why would I say we have to be by yourself? Because that's when you can be calm. That's when you can be grounded. That's when you can lead yourself and others from a place where you're never going to be adjusted by anything that's happening around. Doesn't matter what happens in the environment. It doesn't matter what happens the other person's life, because you're still going to be who you are. So that's why coming home to yourself is so important, right? So yesterday we talked about that, right? And if you think about it, how many things in the world can pull us away from our center, right? Other people's emotions, stress, expectation, pressures from the systems around us, world events, right? So many things can pull us out of our out, and also they can enter. If you don't have a strong boundary, you can let them enter into your sacred space. And when too many things enter the center, what do you think happens? We begin reacting instead of guiding others, ourselves as well. Ourself as well. We're going to react. Makes sense, right? Because there's so many things coming in, we have to react. We're not grounded anymore to guide ourselves or others. So imagine again, the center is you. That's your core. That's your center, right? Place where you feel calm, clear, and grounded. If you're not feeling that, that means you allowed others to be inside, other things to be inside, other expectations to be inside. And the way to get out of it is to claim it, reclaim it, claim it that it is, I need this. Because if you don't have it, you're going to be always in chaos. And that's not a place to live with, right? It's really important. And then where do we put the most toxic people? Yesterday we talked about it. As furthest possible as possible, at the outer layer as possible, because they're not healthy for you. They're not contributing anything for your existence. So place them far away. And it's not mean. They can move around. When they get better, they can move into an inner circle. But right now, that event or that person is not someone is healthy for your life. So we need to move them further apart. So how do we do that? So after the live, right, at the end, somebody asked a very, really honest question. And I really liked that question. They said, how is this possible, right? If you're watching it for the first time today, you might be thinking, yeah, it seems like you're telling me this sacred circle. It seems like it makes sense, but how is it possible? How can I push people like that? Like how do I know how to push them? And how can I keep my core clear and calm when so many things are happening? How can I do that? So that's what we're going to look at today, because it's a good question, right? These questions are really good. I really appreciate that question. So because why do I like these questions? Because it reflects something very real about the experience of adults today, right? As adults, how many of us are guiding ourselves and our children or our lives, other people? How many of us are guiding from being pulled in all directions? Be honest. Aren't we pulled in many, 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 many directions? And then we have to stay calm and guide others, right? Especially if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, you're doing this a lot too, right? So it's not easy. So that's why I like these questions, because I want to answer this today. We're going to go into this part. So today I want to explore something simple. Before we react, right? Before we react, our brain reacts first. You may think that you're reacting, but no, before all of that, your brain reacts first. Many people believe we think about a situation and then we respond, but often the brain reacts first. So what do I mean by this? I'm going to go into it. So when something feels stressful, overwhelming, or emotionally intense, our brain reacts quickly. The reaction can look like frustration, wanting to control the situation, shutting down, feeling overwhelmed, angry. So many different feelings can show up, right? And often this reaction happens before we can even realize it. Have you ever felt like after you react in a certain way, do you ever feel like, why did I do that? Because our brain already reacted and we never even had a chance to think about it, right? So it's an automatic reaction that the brain is doing it. So what I want to introduce is something that I've created called Talk to Your Brain. And those of you who don't know me, at the age of 12, I decided to end my life. And the day that I was deciding that, days leading up to that as well, I always used to talk to my brain because I was a very quiet, shy. I even muted myself at school. So I was having a lot of conversation with my brain. So I don't know if somebody can relate to this, but that's what I was doing because I didn't have a lot of people in my life. As I said, I was very shy, and also I was, deciding to leave the world. So I have to talk to myself. So I was talking to my brain. So the day before I decided to do that, my brain told me that all the reasons why I shouldn't be living it should be my last day. It gave me all facts and all kinds of proven stuff that made all sense to me. And it went through list after list after list and telling me why I was not worth living. This is my brain and my conversation with my brain, right? We're talking. Now, after, I decided to do what I did, and I wake up. Obviously, I survived. I wake up the next day. My brain is talking to me again because we're good friends, right? I don't know if you feel like that with your brain. At that time, my brain really owned me. I was its slave, right? I always listened to my brain. So when it started talking to me the next day, it was talking to me very differently, and it was telling me that what I did was wrong. What I tried to do was wrong, and it was wrong for many reasons. And it was giving me list after list how what I did was really wrong. So, I'm 12, right? Even at 12, I'm like, I felt like somebody just lied to me. If you know that feeling when you listen to someone, you trust them, and then you feel like, what happened? How can you betray me like this? Like, you told me to do all of these things, and then now you're telling me I did something wrong, and these are the reasons why I did it. What I did was wrong. So I was shocked. So from that day on to this day, I call it talk to my brain, but I own my brain. You should also own your brain. It doesn't own us, because I was betrayed, and I know that all of our brains can betray us. It wants to say whatever it wants to say. It'll make lies into facts, facts into lies. It can do anything it wants. It is a mighty storyteller, right? So that's why we need to own our brain, and we need to talk to it, and we need to make sure that it doesn't tell us whatever it wants to tell us. So why am I sharing this right now? Because when you want your sacred circle to be peaceful and calm and grounded, guess what? Talking to your brain is a way of doing that, because then you don't allow people. Your brain might say, you know what, you love them so much, let's have this person so close. No. This person is toxic. This person at this moment needs to be further away from me because they're not helping me. This situation I don't need in my life. I'm going to put it as further as possible. This situation I need to think about. So I'm going to put there for now because I don't want to think about it too fast. So all the time you're analyzing it, you're noticing it, you're thinking about it, you're talking to your brain so that you own the brain and you tell it what is happening, not it tells you what's going to happen. So when you get that power, you're in control. We say that life just happens to us, or I just live. No, you can create the life you want as long as you know how to talk to your brain. That's the power of it, right? So how does this all happen though? Well, how do we talk to our brain? You might be asking right now, how do you start? How do you start is by awareness. I cannot tell you in this world, we look for so many big strategies and, let's go to the expert, let's go figure out this, let's do that, let's, find the best hack out there, and it worked for them, it should work for me. You don't need any of that right now. The first step for you, for your kids, for your students, anyone you love, the first step you can ever bring to them is awareness. Bring to yourself is awareness. Noticing everything that your brain is doing and reacting and what it is saying. If you can dissociate your brain like a separate person, and you are a separate person, and start witnessing what it's doing and what it's saying, that's when the awareness starts. That's exactly where the awareness starts. So instead of, when you start witnessing, when you start noticing, and when we're aware, we can notice our brain's going to react in a certain way. It's going to take a step, and we can then really pause it, acknowledge it, and think about what our brain is doing. So that keeps us calm, right? If you think about it, isn't that a calm state when we're thinking about what our brain is processing? That makes it more calm. Than the other way would be to be getting excited and reactive. This is very calm state. When you're thinking about it, awareness is a calm state, right? So sometimes what we need to do is really, like, there are multiple ways when I'm coaching, when our coaches are coaching other people, we talk to our brain in different ways. It's not one way to talk to it. Some of us have a very controlling brain because it's been protecting us so much, right? Some of us has very kind of, I don't care type of brain. Some of us have everything needs to be laid out kind of a brain. Like, you need to do this, you need to do this. This is how it is, right? So there are different ways you can talk to it. Sometimes you have to be very compassionate. Sometimes you have to be very gentle. Sometimes you have to be very aggressive because the brain is aggressive. So there are multiple ways of controlling your thoughts from your brain, and then talking to it, and then asking questions to your brain about what it's saying so that you can cross-examine it. I with my brain, since that day, since my 12-year-old experience, every single time my brain says something, I'm like, oh, hold on a second. Tell me more. Tell me what this means. Why are you saying this? So I am constantly questioning my brain. I know some of you might think this is funny. It's not. It's profound. This is actually the secret to life, secret to human. This is human code. When we can control our brain, we own our brain. It doesn't own us. It's an amazing life to live when we can master this. But the mastery doesn't start with anything else except bringing awareness in every single moment. So try it. Try it now. What's your brain saying? It might be saying, I don't understand what she's talking about. Or it might be saying, I need to go do this. Or it might be saying, yeah, I should try this. You know why? Because I'm living in such a chaos. I should think about, am I alone in my sacred core? Have I let other things inside of my sacred core? Should I be cleaning up? Should I start cleaning up the space, right? So these are things your brain might be saying right now. So start witnessing, start noticing from this moment on. I want you to do this as an experiment. Life is an experiment, right? It's a laboratory. We are bombarded with all the time with variables. So now you bring awareness to your thoughts, which is your brain. You can even name your brain. That way you can dissociate from it and you can talk to it, hey, and call it a name, right? That's another thing that I love doing, is naming the brain. So this is how you return to your center. You have to take control over your brain, because when it is controlling you, you cannot return to your center. Your center is too crowded. So that's why I told you at the end yesterday that I will share with you how to do this. So what is the first how? Awareness. Can you start noticing? Can you start noticing what your brain is saying? What is your brain is reacting? Because this is how you can return to your center instead of being pulled in all directions of your life. Now, this is especially important when you're guiding children, students, right? Why? Because children don't listen to our words only. They feel our nervous system. I talked about this yesterday as well, right? It's like they have these antennas, they're scanning for our nervous system and they're syncing with our nervous system. So when your sacred circle is overloaded with things and you're not grounded, you're not calm, guess what? They're going to feel an adult who's overwhelmed. And the children are going to feel it. Your student is going to feel it if you're a teacher. And when adults are steady and their core is protected, and it's protected for themselves only, the inner core, your sacred inner core, children will also feel that and they will feel settled. So learning to notice our brain is not just helpful for us, it actually changes the whole emotional environment for our whole family, for people around us. People might even start saying, I feel so relaxed when I'm around you, because you're spreading that around to other people, right? So this actually, it helps with everything, parenting, living. So I want you to reflect on this. When you were a child, when adults were around you and they always were calm, how did you feel when they were calm? And when they were not calm, they were upset or they were yelling, how did that make you feel? Because I know most of us can remember this, right? How it felt to be a child. So that's exactly what that's exactly what our students feel in the classroom as well. When our nervous system and our core is not in a calm, grounded state, they're not going to feel grounded either. So today's conversation is not becoming perfect, right? A lot of people think, okay, now I have to be aware of my brain too, and now I have to think about my brain too, and I have to now own it. No, it's not about being perfect. Only thing I want you to do, start doing, is noticing your brain and its thought. What is it producing? And become aware. Become like an investigator with your brain. Why are you saying this? I wonder what's that mean. Like, become so aware that you become like an investigator with your thoughts. Because noticing is what's happening in our brain when we notice it, before you react. It's going to help you with all your reactions. So, and it's going to help you clean up your core if you're not able to. This is how you can help your children. This is how you can help your students. Okay. So I hope that helped today to know how to do it. And it's a practice, right? It's not like you're going to learn it once, right? You have to practice this. You have to continue to practice this. So can you practice noticing? Can you start wondering why that thought's coming up? Can you think about, why am I keep going to that one event all the time? What is my brain pulling me to think about this or think about that? And why am I being not here and now and everywhere else? Like all these questions is going to help you. So when we're able to become aware, then we're going to pull ourselves to now and here. So that's another strategy that I've been helping you over this, is to bring ourselves now and here. In the now and here space, then we can be calm in our core. And that's how we come home to ourselves. And from that, we can lead ourselves and others in a beautiful way. So that's what I want for all of you. So that's why I'm sharing this, because it's powerful. It's a gift that I got when I was I thought it was my last day. It was a gift. It was given to me to understand my brain, how it works, and how I can own it. So all I want you to do is become aware and own your brain, and you own it, and you can tell it what to react or how to act in situation instead of react even better, right? So talking to your brain before reacting to the moment is what I want you to do. Until we meet again, I'll be here tomorrow at this time with another topic. If you have any questions, please send them to me. If this stirs something, if you think this won't work, share it with me, because I'm not just here for you to agree with me. I love challenges. If somebody says, you know what, how does this even work? I love it, because I treat life like an experiment. As I said, this is a laboratory. I'm a living being. You're a living being. Variables are affecting us. Environment is changing constantly. We have so many things going on in our lives, right? We have to treat it like a lab. So any question, anything that you feel like, this doesn't resonate with me, I love to hear that too. So send it into me, ask me a question, and I'll make other live to correspond to those as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for allowing me to share my story. And that's why we're here, right? Help each other. So thank you so much. Have a blessed day or night.